North Idaho College proudly presents NIC Today, an informational news magazine that highlights the people, programs, and campus life at North Idaho College and the surrounding community. And now, your host and moderator, President of North Idaho College, Dr. Joe Dunlap.
Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to North Idaho College Today. This is the program where we bring you insight into the people and programs that make up North Idaho College. Today with me we have Chris Martin, our VP for Business and Finance, and we have our brand new Dean of Career and Technical Education, Kassie Silvas. So welcome to the program today. And as usual, we have Mark Browning, our Vice President for Government Relations and Marketing. So welcome. So Kassie, we're going to start with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background since you're brand new to this position?
Thank you, Joe. I am coming formerly out of being the Dean of Outreach and Educational Innovation, which also had oversight of the aerospace program here for North Idaho College. So I've spent some time working with dual credit and some special projects for the college.
And so you went from that position into the new Career and Technical Education Dean position. And so how long have you been in this position?
I believe less than 30 days.
Less than 30 days, all right.
And we roped you right into the television show.
And with the new position, you also brought some of your old responsibilities with you, I believe. You want to talk a little bit about those?
Yes, dual credit is one of them because I see a great marriage between offering some of our career and technical education as dual credit pathways for students. So it seemed like a good fit to keep that, as well as the outreach centers who are very excited about having more access to career and technical education, as well as some of the other opportunities that I'm working with.
Well, Kassie, we're certainly glad to have you in this new position. And previously, you were responsible for starting up the aerospace programs, and that was a monumental effort in a very short period of time. So congratulations and thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
Chris, let's start by talking about the new Career and Technical Education facility in terms of what's happening with the construction, the costs, and what that means to North Idaho College.
Absolutely. I'm very excited about this project, and it's gotten off to an absolute great start. So ground is broken, the contractor's on site, everything is moving along as we would plan at this time. So actually, if you get the chance to drive down Lancaster Road in Rathdrum, I would absolutely encourage you to take that drive and see what's happening out next to K-Tech. So ground's been broken. We're actually laying footings at this point for the facility. The facility will be phased into a couple of construction phases, which will allow us to move in for CTE by July 2016, and we're right on track at this moment, both from a budgeting standpoint as well as just the progress of construction. And I'm just really excited to see what's happening there and how fast it's moving along. So all the permits are complete, utilities are coming to the site, and then we'll be, as I said, laying the foundation very soon.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. Kassie, talk to us a little bit about what programs are moving out to that new facility and how those programs relate to the K-Tech programs, which is right next door.
Yeah, another wonderful opportunity. We have 8 programs that are going to be located out at this new facility. We have collision, automotive technology, both computer-aided, drafted technology programs with mechanical, architectural, diesel, industrial, millwright, welding, and machining. So with those 8 opportunities, K-Tech being right next door, offering high school students the opportunity for some early access to welding and quite a few of those programs, diesel, auto collision, they're going to get a nice jump start and a nice seamless pathway between K-Tech and NIC to continue their education. We're looking forward to some shared resources. We've already engaged in some conversations with the principal, Tim Fortune, over there about how we can align what we're doing with what he's doing, and we're just looking forward to serving the community better.
You know, that's probably the biggest question I get out in the community is, well, you're right next door to K-Tech, that's great, but how is it not duplicating what they're doing? Can you give us a little idea? You know, you're talking with Tim, but are there pathways now where a student could finish in one and just walk right next door then?
Well, we're certainly working on that right now so that students can have access to the dual credit or the programmatic side of the house where they can complete part of the program and then migrate right over. We're also in some conversations about having some open applied learning labs where students can come demonstrate some competencies, as well as maybe industry having access to those labs as well. So a great approach where we're migrating everybody together, and that students are not, they will not be duplicating. They're basically gonna work on some stuff at K-Tech, but there's a horizontal alignment that's going on between NIC and K-Tech that I'd have to go into a little bit more and across the state. But the two main individuals are at the wheel right now making that happen, and we're gonna make it happen by fall.
Chris, you talked about that building and coming in phases. As I understand, there's one overriding kind of looming deadline. We're getting kicked out.
We're getting kicked out.
Tell folks at home, how this deadline and why this project's got to get done on time.
So we currently lease our welding lab, and it's out in the Coeur Industrial Park. And our lease is going to end at the end of this academic year. And that's really what's prompted the need for larger space, specifically for welding, that's really state-of-the-art, up to code and all those wonderful things. But that's really what's driving the timeline for this facility. And so obviously welding in that wing of the building is a first phase for us as construction, because we've got to be in there in time for classes next August.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Chris, what's the size of this new building and the approximate costs?
So the whole building is 110,000, a little bit more than 110,000 square feet. And so that will meet the needs of all of those 8 program areas. It'll provide space for student services, for faculty to have space, as well as general classrooms, because the idea really is for students to be able to get all of their educational programming at the site in Rathdrum. And so as this is kind of developed, that's part of that 110,000 square feet. Is it's not just lab space, but it's also classroom and student support space. And the total project cost for this project, everything all included, $20,000 is our project cost.
20 million.
Excuse me, 20 million.
Like,
Thank
wow,
you.
we're gonna
What
save
a
a little
deal!
money
What a
here.
deal! 20 million for the total project. And with that, as you may have read in the paper, we actually, through the bid process, gained some ground there, and we're being able to shave off some of the actual construction cost for the building. And so the bid for the building came in at approximately $15 million for the actual building is where we're at. And then the rest of the project being outfitting it with state-of-the-art equipment, and then scholarships for students, and then making sure that we have sustainability for those programs going forward.
And to cover the costs for the equipment, the replacement fund for equipment, and also scholarships, the foundation, the NIC Foundation, has launched a Build the Future campaign for $5 million, and that just was kicked off recently to help close that gap. And so they're doing a great job on trying to raise that final amount to complete this project.
Absolutely.
Kassie, your faculty in those programs have labored under some really challenging conditions and circumstances. We have very dedicated folks here that are instructing our students, but give folks at home a little bit of an idea of some of the challenges, for example, in welding and in the diesel tech program. Some of the things that these folks have been doing to adapt has really been remarkable.
Well, I can hardly walk into the welding shop without tripping over pylons on the way in, so we'll just start with that. The faculty are really excited about the increased capacity, I would say the student-friendly learning environments that we're going to create, the access to some new equipment and space to accommodate more learning opportunities for the students. We've been really cramped. We've been limited on the number of students that we can take, and therefore we're limited on how we can serve the workforce needs out in industry. So this larger building, this more fluid space is allowing us to serve those needs better for our students and for our industry partners. We're also looking forward to the workforce training side of the house, utilizing this space and inviting industry in to accommodate their training needs and just having that state-of-the-art space to come and do what they need to do their business better.
And Chris, the space that's going to be vacated on campus in the Headland building, you being the space guru for the campus, what are your thoughts on the reutilization of that space?
There's a lot of opportunity, and the Headland building has served the college well, but it's over 40,000 square feet. It's a huge facility. And as some of these labs transition, some of the vision for the college going forward will be to use that space not only for new programs as they come online, the college has been very, very aggressive in going after grants to start new programs. And the challenge with that has been we haven't always had appropriate space to launch those grants. And so this will allow us the chance to really innovate with new programs, as well as use some of this space for perhaps business incubation, as well as serving the large bays that we have are very unique for diesel. And that would create a great opportunity for some more performing arts space on campus.
Okay.
It's been really interesting to me to watch over the last 3 or 4 years the transformation of the college. And, you know, we talk about during a recession what the college can and needs to do in order to support the community in terms of changing and starting programs. And Joe, you had a figure at one point, I'm going to put you on the spot here, but how many technical education programs the college has started over the last 3 or 4 years to really be in direct response to what the community and industry is asking for?
Yeah, over the last 3 years, we've started 20 new career and technical programs that relate to aerospace, manufacturing, healthcare, and hospitality. So it covers a broad spectrum of the business and industries here in the North Idaho counties. And we feel very responsible in terms of workforce development and economic vitality and economic development for the region. So we work closely with Jobs Plus, and just recently 2 aerospace companies announced that they will be relocating to Post Falls, in part because of the aerospace programs we've put in place. And so those companies now will have a ready workforce. So while we still have the transfer programs, and that's still a huge part of the college, we have begun to engage more in supporting business and industry to ensure the economic vitality of the region.
Strikes me the economic impact of the college is close to $200 million annually.
Right.
You know, when you're talking about 1/5 of $1 billion in this region, it's a pretty significant impact, and we're very grateful for the direction that we get from a lot of your advisory boards and those industries who now feel comfortable coming to us and saying, hey, take a look at this because this is what we see coming. It's really helpful. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
So we've kind of danced around the subject that school's underway, and we're just barely underway. Classes have been underway here just about a month here on campus, and it's a good time to remind everybody at home that classes are underway. I want to take an opportunity here to show you just a small snippet of a piece that we've run on campus and both on the web, reminding the community and parents and students about the importance of safety and what we're doing here at North Idaho College to ensure the safety of everyone who comes and visits us here on campus.
And Chris and Kassie, thank you for joining us today.
This back-to-school public service announcement is being brought to you in part by North Idaho College, the City of Coeur d'Alene, School District 271, and the Coeur d'Alene Police Department.
Hi, I'm Detective Gus Wessel with your Coeur d'Alene Police Department. I'm currently the School Resource Officer for North Idaho College. With the summer coming to a close and kids going back to school, we would like to ask your partnership in keeping our children, roads, and community safe. Awareness of your surroundings within our school zones is paramount. We would like to point out a few areas where we can increase our vigilance as drivers. Although these tips are directed toward the back-to-school season, they're important year-round and are valid throughout our city.
Hi, I'm Detective Tom Sparks of the Coeur d'Alene Police Department, also the School Resource Officer of Woodland Middle School. You know, school's back in session now, and the kids aren't always watching both ways when they're crossing on our crosswalks. Let's give them a break. Let's watch out for them.
Hi, I'm Detective John Spranget with the Coeur d'Alene Police Department, the School Resource Officer for Coeur d'Alene High School. Please remember that it's not only illegal to text and drive inattentively, but it's our duty as citizens of this community to drive safely and pay attention all the time while operating a motor vehicle.
I'm Detective Crystal Shaw, School Resource Officer for all the elementary schools here in Coeur d'Alene. Now that school's here, you're going to see lots of buses throughout the day, dropping off kids and picking them up. When the stop sign comes out and the red lights are flashing, stop for the bus. Do not try and pass it. When kids are crossing the road, sometimes they don't look both ways. So I'm asking you to be vigilant and make sure that you stop and you're aware of the children in the area.
Hello, I'm Detective Noble with the Coeur d'Alene Police Department. I'm a School Resource Officer here at Canfield Middle School. I'm here today to talk to you about bike lanes. Bike lanes are not parking lots. We're not supposed to stop, we're not supposed to get out and leave our vehicles there or park there for any amount of time.
It's important that we leave those bike lanes open for pedestrians and other bicyclists to safely move about on the roadways. If we need to drop our children off, please look for a safe alternative parking lot or side road to drop your child off and allow them to safely cross and come into school. Remember, it's all about safety, and that's what we're here for.
You should be aware that the speed limit in school zones is reduced, and the fine for speeding in a school zone is $156.50.
On behalf of your Coeur d'Alene Police Department, North Idaho College, School District 271, and my fellow school resource officers, we would like to remind you that school is now back in session. The school resource officers, along with the department's care team, will be conducting emphasis patrols in and around the school zones. Thank you for taking part in making this another safe school year in the city by the lake.
And thanks to you, Sergeant Wessel. Good reminders for all of us when we're coming on campus. And we may not have the school buses always on campus regularly, but we do get a lot of school children down here. And it's just slow down a little bit. You might be a minute late, but it's better to get there safely and for everyone around us. So good reminders.
Good point, Mark. Thank you very much. Joining us in this segment is the leadership for the Associated Students of North Idaho College. And the president this year is Maria Paluzzi. So Maria, thank you for joining us and welcome to NIC Today.
Thank you.
So Maria, tell us a little bit about yourself, just your background and where you're from and what your goals are.
Well, I am a native to Idaho. I'm from Boise, so just down south, pretty close. Only an 8-hour drive away from my family and my dog. So that's the only sad part about it. My goals are to graduate with Associate of Arts in English and then transferring to a school that I'm still looking into, still trying to figure that out. And after that, go into teaching is kind of my plan.
And what made you decide to relocate from Boise to Coeur d'Alene?
Well, this campus is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
I don't think anyone can deny that. I took a trip a long time ago and I saw this place and you can't pass that up. A beautiful lake, and this is a wonderful facility, so I'm proud of my decisions.
And we are very glad that you are here and part of this institution and providing a leadership for our students. So Maria, tell me, why did you want to run for student body president?
Well, one of my favorite quotes in the whole world is by Mark Twain, and it's the 2 most important days of your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. And I've always felt that my purpose is to be a voice of people and those who feel reluctant to be able to speak out. And so I think that this is a perfect outlet for that. And I know that we've already had tons of people come to ASNIC asking for help with anything. And so I felt like that's my place to be that voice for them.
Well, what a wonderful motivation.
Were you involved in student government or student leadership at the high school level? Is this something completely new for you?
This is something that's fairly new to me. I've done leadership positions, but nothing in student government in my high school, so it's fairly new.
What's been the biggest surprise for you since you've taken office?
Probably the meetings, I would have to say.
We love meetings here. We're very good at meetings.
I'm not used to the deadlines and how sometimes formal and informal it can be. It's always a swing every meeting. It's either really formal or, why are you saying sir? And yes, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm just not acquainted to that yet. So still getting used to that. That's probably the biggest shock for me right now.
Well, Maria, why don't you tell us a little bit about the structure of student government at North Idaho College? In other words, you have a cabinet or a group of individuals that support you, and what does that structure look like, and what's the purpose of student government?
Okay. So every fee-paying student is an associated student of North Idaho College, and student government is essentially the elected officers that were put in position to represent those students. And so student government is to meet the needs of any concern or issue that any student brings up, and we among our board will talk about it and decide what is the best plan of action to take to rather solve that need or help aid and guide certain solutions for the future. And then as ASNIC, it is also comprised of not only student government, but student events as well, which helps meet emotional, social, and physical needs of students, providing certain events around campus like family movie nights or tag games, anything like that. And then there's clubs and organizations which have outlets for students to be involved, so that way they don't have to run for a position in student government, or maybe they don't feel comfortable with planning on student events, so they can be a part of clubs that can help meet their interests that they might have.
What are some of the issues that students are bringing to you or to senators within ASNIC and saying, hey, this is an issue, we could use some help with this? What are you hearing?
A few things that we've been hearing about: book costs. There have been a lot of that coming
big
up.
issue.
Yeah. And so ways that we're trying to look at is looking at the publishers, because that's a huge concern. So we've taken that on. And then there has been a concern with the fact that this is a tobacco-free college, and yet there are still smoking areas designated. And there have been concerns from students about the smoke, and especially since this summer was a rough one with the fires. So we're trying to eliminate that as much as possible and look into the policies about that.
What was your platform when you ran? What promises did you make, or did you make any? What was there a single or cluster of issues that prompted you to say, hey, I'm going to go try to get something done about this?
Well, my whole platform again was that I've always wanted to be a voice of students, and that's always what I felt that my duty is, and what I've kind of put as like an honor on myself. And a platform of mine was to actually help with the smoking and all that, because I know I've had a lot of personal issues with that in my life with friends and family, so I feel like that's such a huge concern, and looking over policies and seeing what needs to be met. And I know that a lot of students bring up concerns about maybe food and how that's been going, and so I've worked personally with our chef over there in the sub, and so I think that's really helped a lot. He's taken requests from any needs that people have, and so I think that's really a big help, because I know sometimes I like to be gluten-free and lactose is not the best, so it's really nice that we've moved forward with that as well.
You know, one of the big initiatives that the student government has been responsible for is putting forth an initiative to establish a student wellness and recreation center. And last year the students took up that mantle. It's been a desire for over 10 years for the students to put that in place, and now you are leading that charge in terms of the development and design of that facility. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Maria?
Yeah, so the Student Wellness and Recreation Center is going to be on its way. We have the architecture company coming, and they have forums that they've opened up for students to come and give input, so I think that's incredible. We've been working on the design mainly as of right now. They're trying to figure out the name as of right now instead of Student Wellness and Recreation Center, because we all like to have something interesting to say, like the Croc Center. You always want something fun, and so I think that they're talking about a rock wall, how that's going to be placed, and all the other many aspects to go inside.
Important to note for folks watching at home too, that this is not only a student-driven concept, but it's also being paid for by the students.
That's right.
Taxpayer dollars or general fund dollars coming from your legislature through your sales tax are not paying for this. The students are, and those fees that will pay for that directly. So thank you to the students. It's going to be a wonderful addition to campus, and for the folks at home, nothing coming out of your pocket for this one. The students are picking up all the freight, so thank you.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
So Maria, are you due to graduate at the end of this year then?
I am.
Okay.
I'm very much looking forward to that.
And you're still weighing your options in terms of what institutions you may transfer to?
I have a few in mind.
Okay.
And you mentioned teaching. Are you thinking elementary, secondary, post-secondary? What? Any thoughts there?
High school.
High school, secondary. Boy, the tough ones.
Kind of following my mom's footsteps on that one. She's a high school teacher. I'd like to focus on English. I'm an English major, and I like to read and write, and it's a joy. So
Good fit then. Very good fit. Awesome. Well, it's very nice to have you here on campus, and we're glad that more Southern Idaho folks realize that there's not only a beautiful part of the state up here, but a wonderful institution too. And we'd invite more of you to come on up and join us here in Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, exactly. We'd welcome any and all Boise students or students from the southern part of the state to come and join us at North Idaho College. North Idaho College is a real jewel here in Idaho, but it also has a very unique campus that you don't find anywhere, with the lake and the mountains and the forests. And those of us who work here think it's a very, very special place.
Can't be beat. As we've had the opportunity to travel a little bit here and there, and you look at other campuses. I was over in northwest Montana this summer, went to Glacier Park for a few days and spent a little bit of time on the Flathead Valley campus, and it's a beautiful spot of the world. It can't hold a candle to what we have here. This is such an amazing place, and as wonderful as the scenery and the location is, the people make it even better.
Yep. Well, listen, that's all the time we have today. We appreciate you joining us. And Maria, thank you for stepping up and being the president of ASNIC and joining us today to share with us what your vision is and what student government does at North Idaho College. And as a reminder to those of you watching in the Coeur d'Alene area, this airs on Channel 19. And of course, join us at our website anytime to learn more about North Idaho College. And thank you for joining us. And Mark, thank you for being here today.